Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 14th chapter, text number 32. Atopasprisya salilam Pranan ayamya vagyataha Dhyayan jajhapa virajham Brahma jyotis sanatanam Atopasprisya salilam Pranan ayamya vagyataha Dhyayan jajapa virajam Brahma jyotis sanatanam Atopasprisya salilam Pranan ayamya vagyataha Dhyayan jajapa virajam Brahma jyotis sanatanam. Word to word meaning. बोलिए. Word to word meaning. Ata, thereafter. Upasprishya, touching or taking bath in the water. Salilam, water. Pranan ayamya, practicing trance. Vakyataha, controlling speech. Dhyayan, meditating. Jajhapa, chanted with the mouth. Virajam, pure. Brahma, Gayatri hymns. Jyotihi, effulgence. Sanatanam, eternal. Shri Radha Krishna Chandra Shishintai Gauranga Ki. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Thereafter the Brahmana took his bath in the water and controlled his speech by practicing trance, meditating on the eternal effulgence and chanting the holy Gayatri hymns within his mouth. Please repeat the translation. Thereafter the Brahmana took his bath in the water and controlled his speech by practicing trance, meditating on the eternal effulgence and chanting the holy Gayatri hymns within his mouth. Purport. As one has to take bath after using the toilet, so one has to wash himself with water after sexual intercourse, especially when at a forbidden time. Kashyapa Muni meditated on the impersonal Brahma Jyoti by chanting the Gayatri mantra within his mouth. When a Vedic mantra is chanted within the mouth so that only the chanter can hear, the chanting is called japa. But when such mantras are chanted loudly, it is called kirtana. The Vedic hymn Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare can be chanted both softly to oneself or loudly. Therefore, it is called Maha Mantra or the great hymn. Kashyapa Muni appears to be an impersonalist. Comparing his character with that of Haridas Thakur as referred to above, it is clear that the personalist is stronger in sense control than the impersonalist. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita as Param Drishtva Nivartate. That is, one ceases to accept lower grade things when one is situated in a superior condition. One is supposed to be purified after taking bath and chanting Gayatri. But the Maha Mantra is so powerful that one can chant loudly or softly in any condition and is protected from all the evils of material existence. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nidhi Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. अतोपस्पृश्य सलिलं प्राणान् आयम्य वाग्यतः ध्यायान् जजहाप विरजं ब्रह्म ज्योतिः सनातनम्. Thereafter the Brahmana took his bath in the water and controlled his speech by practicing trance, meditating on the eternal effulgence and chanting the holy Gayatri hymns within his mouth. So we can see here Kashyapa Muni being a spiritual practitioner, he still had some, because he had that Vedic culture's background, he is still in a better position. Although he transgressed certain Vedic rules and guidelines, Yet we can see, because he is part of the Vedic society and he has practiced some amount of spiritual practice, so he is able to follow at least many various aspects of Vedic society. That is the benefit of being being part of Vedic society. Sometimes devotees, when they make mistakes or when they have certain weaknesses, devotees start thinking, maybe I should not live here. I should not live in the community of devotees. Let me just go off because I have so many different weaknesses. Now that thinking is not very correct, because at least if you live within the community of devotees, you will be able to, even if you make a mistake, there is an opportunity for you to recorrect the course of your life. But if you leave the association of devotees, then you will compound the number of mistakes that you are doing. Like Prabhupada is saying that you can see, as one has to take bath after using the toilet, so one has to wash himself with water after sexual intercourse, especially when at a forbidden time. So because Kashyapa Muni was a Vedic practitioner, the act of sex at a forbidden time was wrong, definitely wrong. But immediately after that, he took his bath, he meditated, he chanted Gayatri Mantra. So it shows that he is not completely off. It happened because of some material weakness, a mistake has happened. But yet he was still focused on his Vedic ways of doing things. So as devotees, we should also be in that same mood, that even not that intentionally we commit mistakes, then it becomes an offense. 10th offense is to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name and to maintain material attachments in spite of understanding so many instructions on this matter. So that aspect is definitely there. We cannot commit mistakes willfully or maintain our material attachments in spite of hearing so many instructions on this matter. But sometimes mistakes are done not out of willful thing. It just happens by the power, by the effect of the kala, of time, of prakriti. A living entity sometimes commit mistakes. So in that scenario, if he is situated, if he is a practicing devotee, then Krishna within the heart continues to remind him, what you have done is wrong, so correct. course correct your life. Various examples of these kind of situations are described in our Puranas. Ajamila is an example. You can see Ajamila was a practicing Brahmana, dutifully performing his grihastha duties. But because Ajamila happened to witness certain sensual activity, Ajamila got bewildered. And in that bewilderedness, he completely gave up his Vedic way of life and started living like a mlecha. But yet, when Ajamila, because of his past satkarma, was remembered Lord Narayana at the end of his life. And we all know the story of how Ajamila was liberated by the Vishnu Dutas. So that is the benefit of practicing spiritual life. That's why Krishna very nicely says, Svalpamapyasya dharmasya trayato mahato bhayat. Even a little spiritual practice if we have done, that saves us from the greatest danger. So that principle is again we can see. But in India sometimes, I have seen many times in India, in many families in India, if you see, in the night, the man of the house will be fully drunk. Then he will beat his wife. And in the morning, after the drunkenness and all is gone, he will take bath. I have seen in South India. Nicely he will put tilak and all, and then he will go to the temple and he will stand. So in the morning he will be a big bhakta, but in the evening he will be a drunken demon. Right? So morning if you see him, you will think, oh, so nice person, he's so spiritual person. Especially in South India, it is even more. Because in South India, they are little traditional people. So you will see in the morning, they have a habit of going to the temple. So they will just go to the temple. But in the evening, you can see that fellow fully drunk, fallen on the road also. In his house, he will be beating his wife every morning, he will come to the temple. So this is not spiritual life. This is just a habit. That's just a show bottle spiritualism. There's no genuine spirituality at all. And that's what Prabhupada is pointing out here. This kind of show bottle spiritualists are generally impersonalists. Prabhupada says here. The difference between Haridas Thakur and Kashyapa. Looks like Kashyapa was a impersonalist. And impersonalists are of this nature generally. And in South India you will find a lot of impersonalists. Lot of Mayavadis in South India. Fake religion. They will talk big religion. But internally they are very, very hollow. They will put big vibhuti, big tilak, everything. But internally you talk to them, they'll be very, very fake. No spirituality at all. Very hollow inside. They will be very modest in their appearance, everything, but spiritually they'll be zero. That's impersonal. And their conclusions are all impersonal. There will be an external facade of religion. but internally there will be no religious principles being followed. I remember once CPP telling a story. When CPP was studying in college, so he was telling me that he had his batchmate, his classmate. So they were hostel mates. In one hostel, one room in IIC that time, 2 people used to stay. So he was his batchmate and he was staying. So at that time, CPP was not very spiritual or Krishna conscious during those times. So, whereas that fellow, he was a typical South Indian Brahmin family, he has come, his hostel mate. So, that fellow used to do every day morning all the various photos of demigods were there in the room. Every day he will light the lamp, every day he will do so many things. And then CPP used to think this fellow is so spiritual, so nice. And then after some time, CPP got association of devotees and started practicing Krishna consciousness. So when CPP started practicing Krishna consciousness seriously, then that other boy, he told CPP, why are you practicing so serious, like this kind of a spiritual practice? So then he told, then what is the idea of spirituality? The CPP preached to him, that means you should do satatam kirtayanta. You should always, when new devotees, we quote all these kind of things, that you should always engage, fully immersed in Krishna consciousness, you should be. So CPP told it. So that fellow told, no, that's not the way you should practice spiritual life. How you should practice spiritual life? God or these spiritual practices should be a stepping stone. You should use the spiritual practices for your material achievements. You should utilize all these things, but whereas you are giving up material activities and engaging in spiritual activities, that is not good. Rather, you should use spiritual activities for material gain. So then, CPP was saying, I understood what is Bhagavatam when it is saying, Kaitavo dharma atra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayon moolanam. Really, they have no idea. This is all Kaitava dharma. So in the morning, when you see somebody, they come, they will take bath, they will do this and then go, arti, puja, everything. In their mind is completely polluted. Completely polluted only with some material desires. They start worshipping the various demigods. With the intention of getting some material benefit. And as soon as they get that material benefit, then you no more need not worship any devata, because you already achieved your goal. Even up to the mukti platform. What do that mean? When mukti, for them it is that they become one with the Lord. So then you are no more, you don't have to chant Narayana's name, you yourself become Narayana. That is their conception. The oneness principle. We have become one with God. When you are one with God, why should you tell call somebody else's name. You are Narayana. That's why they address Narayana, Narayana. I will address you as Narayana. He will address me as Narayana. We have all become one. We are all liberated people. That's why Prabhupada says impersonalism is like adopting impersonalism is like committing spiritual suicide. Nothing but spiritual suicide. Because what is spirituality? Spirituality is engaging constantly in the service of Lord Krishna. That is spirituality. So impersonalism is what? Impersonalism is when the highest position of impersonal achievement is you give up everything. You give up identifying yourself with anything. You lose your identity itself. Whereas we want to identify ourselves as servant of Krishna. We want to identify more. We want to identify. Right now, I identify as servant of Krishna as 2% servant. So improvement of spiritual practice in Krishna conscious terminology is from 2% you become 4%, 5%, 10%, 20%, 50%. Oh, acha, I have become 50% servant of Krishna. Oh, I have become 100%. That is the summit of Krishna consciousness. The highest point of Krishna consciousness is when you can 100% identify yourself as servant of Krishna. Whereas the summit of impersonal practice is when you can identify yourself 0% with Krishna or anybody, you yourself become Krishna. So that is completely opposite direction to what a Krishna conscious perspective is. Our position is Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arasava Bhritya. Krishna is the only Ishvara and all the others are servants. Their principle is Sarva Ishvara. Not Ekala Ishvara. Sarva Ishvara. Everybody are Ishvaras. In the conditioned states you are not an Ishvara. But when you become liberated, then you are also Ishvara. So you see. For us, thinking yourself Ishvara is the biggest Maya. If you consider yourself to be Ishvara, that is the biggest Maya. So this illusion of identity that living entity possesses in this material world can be very easily neutralized by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Srila Prabhupada is stressing on that point. Srila Prabhupada is stressing that the illusion of becoming Ishvara and adopting the principle of servant is possible by chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. When we chant with attention and faith in the holy name of the Lord, we come out of this false identity. And that is the essence of spiritual practice. The path that Srila Prabhupada has given us, the sadhana process, the temple life, the services, working under authority, working under superior, taking guidance from superior, not to act independently, not to act on your own, not to decide on your own. These are all very, very powerful principles of spiritual. If you violate, you are going to fall down. If you, definitely you will fall down. You can see your consciousness immediately, you are putting seeds of contamination in your mind. On your own, if you act. If you think that, oh, I am preaching, I am collecting money, let me utilize this money, even if it is so called. No. Because as soon as you do in that, you have broken the principle of servitude. Oh, I can do on my own. Yeah. Your bija of contamination has begun. And it multiplies. You will do first one level. Just like it's same material world, how it is. Prabhupada gives the example. When you first time rob, you will feel very frightened. Second time when you rob, you will feel less frightened. Third time when you feel rob, then you will feel, chalta hai. Because servitude involves becoming humble. You have to ask, you have to do so many things. Why I have to ask? As though I am doing good. If you are doing good, then what is the problem to ask? If you think you are doing a good thing, then you should ask. Right? We must not do. These principles are very, 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 very important for us. If you violate, just like Prabhupada's disciples, Prabhupada gave the order, you preach Krishna consciousness on my behalf. Prabhupada made this standard what? He gave authority, he gave them position, power, everything, and told his senior disciples, you preach, you make disciples on my behalf. But what did they feel? No. Why on behalf? Why not on my behalf? That is the beginning of fall down. Kirtanananda, I remember one of Prabhupada's first disciples. The devotee was telling me, Kirtanananda used to go to IIT Bombay and give lectures. In IIT Bombay, the auditorium used to be packed when he used to give lectures. Packed. Full. All the IIT boys used to come and sit in that lecture. So nicely used to give lectures. Used to inspire all the people. But we all know what happened to Kirtanananda. Even during Srila Prabhupada's physical presence, Kirtanananda tried to become Guru. And Prabhupada was very unhappy. Same thing with Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Tamal Krishna Maharaj was a very wonderful preacher, very good organizer, very good manager. Prabhupada used to say, in the entire ISKCON movement, the most intelligent devotee is this Tamal Krishna. Very good organizer. He could the Radha Damodar party. He created the book distribution. Massive book distribution used to happen. Done, and Prabhupada, you can see hundreds of quotes are there. Prabhupada saying, book distribution is my life. Distributing my literatures. Prabhupada's most dearmost activity, that is. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj organized bus parties. Huge temple on wheels, it was called. Tamal Krishna Maharaj organized temple on wheels. And these bus parties, they used to be called. Hundreds and thousands of American devotees, brahmacharis, used to be in the buses. And from the buses, they used to go and preach. And lakhs and crores of rupees worth books were distributed through the bus parties in America during those times. But you know what Tamal Krishna Maharaj used to say? Because he was doing the bus parties, he used to go and tell to the brahmacharis that like bus party will come to Bhilai using. Like Sankirtan band will come to Bhilai. So he will tell, oh, you people are living in the temples. Temples is not for serious devotees. Brahmacharis should go out and preach. They should travel and preach in Sankirtana. Like this, he started preaching in the temple. And like for example, say in Bhilai, we have 3-4 brahmacharis. 3-4 brahmacharis also will feel, oh, we are all not brahmacharis. We are not doing proper service. We should go with Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And from the Bhilai temple, he will take away 4-5 devotees. Like that, in Los Angeles temple, in Philadelphia temple. Bus party comes to the temple means temple president will be shivering. आज हमारा temple से जो गया 4-5 devotees. Then he used to take away. You are sitting in luxury, you are living in the house, you are a grahastha man, you are not a brahmachari. Like that he used to tell. So letter after letter, Srila Prabhupada started receiving from various temples saying, this is what Tamal Krishna Maharaj is doing. Prabhupada, please correct him. So Prabhupada warned Tamal Krishna, but he would not change. And then what did Prabhupada do? Prabhupada stopped the entire bus party which used to be distributing thousands and thousands of books. Prabhupada said, no more requirement. I don't want to be books to be distributed like this. And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj was told, you go to China. He was banished from preaching. From America itself, he was told, no, you cannot stay in America. You please go to China. And that's how, this is all there. How many of you have read Leela-amrita? It is there in that. Tamal Krishna Maharaj was sent off to China. So you see, on his own he started acting. Book distribution is so important. Deity worship is so important. I'll not tell the temple, I'll buy jewelry from there, I'll buy this one from there. You don't have a whole picture at all. Oh, this preacher will tell, oh Prabhu, I will do things on my own. Never we should do such kind of things. You're violating the principles. You don't have the whole picture. You are thinking this is what it is. Tamal Krishna Maharaj is thinking in competitive spirit, I will make my own thing, I will do my own thing. Similarly, Kirtananda, Prabhupada is saying Kirtananda, don't do this kind of things. Kirtananda started his own philosophy. He started saying Prabhupada is Krishna himself. And Prabhupada is saying, why are you preaching this kind of things? He made Prabhupada like Krishna. Nice, capable devotees, but got bewildered and doing things on their own way. If not today, you will fall down tomorrow. It is a fact. You can make out any devotee that humility, humbleness that are there when you join a devotee, because when you are new devotee, you are very open to instructions. You will take good instructions. But as you live in the moment, you will start thinking, oh, this is, I can do on my own. What is there to learn from him? I know how to do things. And then you will multiply. Every devotee has a right. If you want to do something, if you are really honest, you should go and discuss. Prabhu, this is what I want to do. You make your points. That's fine. That is very fair to do that. But ultimately, you on your own to decide. Because supposing you go and discuss, and maybe whatever reason your superior may say, no, that's not required. You must leave it. You must wait for. Sometimes you may even be right in that decision. But the superior may not be able to see your vision, and he may say that, no, this is not the way to do. And then you feel, okay, But the ideal devotee, he lives it. He wants Krishna to sanction that. Ultimately, if Krishna sanctions, even your superior cannot stop it. You have to wait. But we are in a hurry. Hurry, why? Because of false ego. Our false ego is what messes up things. It messes up things. And then you violate one thing, it multiplies. Just like we can see the example of this Diti and Kashyapa. Kashyapa knew this is not correct. He did, and then he went and corrected himself. But what is the use? Already done is done. Consequences are written over it. Hundreds of examples like that. In our own institution, so many devotees. I am talking about big people like Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Kirtananda Maharaj, directly Prabhupada associates who did big things for Prabhupada. They fell down so miserably. We must not create a disaster in our spiritual life. We must be very alert, we must be humble. Many things we may not like, but you can't help it. You can't do on your own. Then you will suffer like anything post that action. Prabhupada is saying here, in this verse it is saying that thereafter the Brahmana took his bath in the water and controlled his speech by practicing trance. It's a very important aspect. Sometimes when we are angry, many things will come out of our mouth. Even if we don't want to tell, by the force of that situation, we will tell so many things. So at that point of time, if you want to control, what you should do? Just close your eyes, take deep breaths. Become trance. Just meditate. So that you will not utter such kind of words. You become peaceful. The influence Rajoguna reduces. You become little more sattvic. Be peaceful. Take deep breaths. Just close your eyes and be there. Relax. So that's exactly what Kashyapa did. He understood, I made a mistake. So let me just wash my face and then just sit quietly for 2 minutes. So same principles we can also apply in our life many times. Instead of just being like a fuse which cannot be once lighted, it will till the end burn. But even in a fuse, sometimes if water is poured on that fuse will lose all its potency. So similarly, such kind of actions if we do, it's like pouring water on our anger, on our false ego and all those things. Okay, we'll stop here. If there's any question, comments? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की।